Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. David Lee Roth's third solo album was entitled A Little Ain't Enough, and this certified pre-owned Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona would be ideal for Diamond Dave. A Little Ain't Enough, this watch featuring 437 brilliant cut diamonds and 36 baguettes set in the bezel, all in platinum. This is the reference 116576TBR, and yes, I put this mass of class on my scale where it registered an incredible 271.7 grams, but it's not huge in a dimensional sense. It's still 40 millimeters in diameter, and you can see in profile fairly thin at 12.4 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. If we're just talking the case, 47.2 millimeters. End link to end link, it's 52.1 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And you really do feel this watch, which is almost 10 full ounces. An incredible timepiece that is handcrafted with a gem set solid white gold dial and a bezel to match, but compact on the wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. In fact, let me remove my glove so you have a better view of my wrist. I think that's reasonable under the circumstances. We'll put the glove back in a moment. But so you can see the entirety of my wrist, you'll realize that the watch is not huge. It's not huge down the wrist and down the barrel, which is always the best perspective when you're trying to size a watch without the benefit of a mirror. Then you can see the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. Over the top, they're still inboard, and this exaggerates the width of the watch. And then the cuff shot revealing it is quite flat and will easily slip underneath a dress cuff. All right, now let's take a closer look at this watch. The original Platinum Series Production Daytona, the first Series Production Platinum Daytona, came out for the anniversary of the watch in 2013. But the year after, 2014, this model was released at Baselworld, part of the annual series of uncatalogued special offerings from Rolex, often involving a great deal of hand gem setting. So in 2014, this was made available to Rolex's best dealers and customers. But you can see that there is a modern 6-digit automatic Daytona shining through. So you've got that distinctive and beautiful case that really, though rated 40 like the subs and the Sea Dwellers, has more in common with the graceful forms of the Date 8s, the Yachtmasters, and the Datejusts. And then this is not the super case profile. You can see that these are beautifully tapered lugs. We have a Oyster bracelet that conforms to both the arc of the case and the curvature of the lugs. And we have polished and satinated facets to these links, including taper down from the end link towards the clasp. Removable links are fixed in place using screws, and the clasp features an internal that is both media blasted and polished. Externally, you can see we have polish straight through as well as polish on the sides. And then inside the clasp, we have the 5mm Easy Link tool-free adjustment system. Snap in or snap out, it's your choice. All executed without any recourse to tools. Now, if you do have tools, however, you could see that there are 3 pairs of divots drilled inside the clasp, so you can dismount the spring bar and change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside the clasp. So links, Easy Link, and then those 3 divots, 3 different ways to size the watch. You see that there are 2 different locking factors here, the clamshell, and then internally you have this lift lock system with an articulated lever that's spring-loaded. There's this little beak, and then there's a hook down there. Those 2 things latch together, so it's actually double locking. People always ask, what does the case back look like? Well, on this generation of Daytona, not like much. You can't see anything, but that is a solid disc of platinum, probably 2 ounces of it on the case back, or 56 grams for the rest of the world. Taking a look at the crown, you can see the crown is a trip lock in platinum, and you know that because it has 3 dots, but the flanking dots are the big ones, and the little one is in the center. We have screw-down crowns, 100-meter water resistance, 36 beautiful baguette gems set within the bezel, and then 437 hand-set brilliant cut diamonds on the dial. And the closer you get, the more you realize that the dial really is made entirely of gold, with the settings in gold and the gems held by little gold pincers or bulbs that are sort of burnished up to hold them in place by the jeweler. And Rolex gem set watches are still made in excruciatingly slow fashion by hand to this day. The only automated part of the process is a laser or an optical scanner that grades the color and clarity of the gems, so you don't see a clarity or color gradient here. We are dealing with hundreds upon hundreds of diamonds. We also have Rolex's distinctive ice blue tone on this dial, reserved only for platinum models, and then what are described as blued gold hands. Let's take a look in the dark. You can see that not only is this watch loomed, but because of the oversized indices, it's actually better loomed than a standard Daytona. There's more to see and more to glow, and it's got Rolex's proprietary chromolite blue lume. Inside, we have Rolex's own movement, manufactured caliber 4130, introduced back in 2000. It has a ball bearing for a rotor that winds bidirectionally, 72-hour power reserve, hacking seconds, 4 Hz beat rate, 44 joules. COSC chronometer certified. The timepiece was first certified as a movement. The movement gets the COSC certification in a 5-position test as a bare movement. Rolex then cases the movement up and tests it in 6 positions as a fully assembled watch to keep time no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per 24 hours, hence superlative chronometer. It isn't written on the dial here. In fact, almost nothing is written on the dial, but rest assured it meets that standard. If you want a Rolex dial that's as minimal as they get, at least in text terms, this is an interesting dichotomy. No boasting, but plenty of flexing, if you get my drift. The movement has a vertical clutch and a column wheel for its chronograph, so when you engage the chronograph, you can see the vertical clutch engages with no jump or stagger or imprecision. It is a seamless engagement, and if you like, you can leave a vertical clutch engaged full time with no additional wear, tear, or hazard to the watch. The other element is the column wheel, which makes for a very crisp and positive tactile sensation when operating the mechanism. You can see instantaneous jumping minutes. The 44 jewel caliber, also featuring a full balance bridge and a free-sprung balance for shock resistance, and in the case of the balance, also very precise adjustment. An overcoil hairspring, so the watch does not care what position it is in relative to gravity. It will always be isochronous or an even timekeeper. And then that hairspring, which is shaped by hand to create the overcoil, is made of blue oxidized niobium zirconium that makes it extremely anti-magnetic. And again, all that with a 3-day power reserve. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details of what was, in 2014, at $170,000, the most expensive Daytona you could buy. Again, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex Certified standard, and any parts invested, Rolex Factory Original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a Certified Pre-Owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note, this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company, the certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed only by Rolex.